everyone, I'm Holly. I am the maker and doer of all the things here at Missouri River Soap, and today I'm making Sweetheart Rose Soap. Now this is potentially going to be a very tricky batch. I've never worked with this particular rose fragrance. The notes say that it does accelerate very quickly, and so I'm going to have to make some adjustments to how I work this batch to work with that acceleration. I know that a lot of you are loving some of the prep work in my videos, so I still have to get ready. My hard oils here are melted. I did walk out this morning and get those melted. I had them pre-measured. So I have coconut oil, mango butter, shea butter, and kokum butter in this pot. And now I'm going to add in my sodium lactate and my liquid oils. So into my slightly oversized pot for working with my new mold. I usually start with sodium lactate. Now sodium lactate is just going to help the batch harden, and it just creates just the most amazing kind of creamy feel. A lot of people use it in lotion because of that reason. And then I'm going to put in some apricot kernel oil. This is going to add conditioning. I love it. I don't use a lot of it, but just a little bit goes a long ways in a batch of soap. Okay. So coconut oil, even though it is known to be super moisturizing, in soap it's our cleansing oil. So I keep mine at 20% so it's just not too much and too dry. Now the mango, kokum, and shea, of course, they're going to provide conditioning, and they're also going to provide hardness because they're butters, but they have different levels. So like mango, I use a little bit more mango than I do shea, and kokum is still harder than the shea butter. Now castor oil is going to be not only conditioning, but it's our bubble maker. This is what we're going to use just to get amazing bubbles. All right, so now we're going to add in the olive oil, and this is going to make up, it is my largest percentage, and it brings conditioning and hardness. Now the thing about olive oil though is it does not lather very well on its own. So you can make 100% olive oil soap, that's a Castile soap, but it will have just a thin lotion-like lather, and it really needs to cure for like a year to really come into its own. And some people, that's all they can use, that's what they need. But it is my base oil. And I'm actually going to be saving out a little bit. I probably need this whole bottle, so I probably don't need to be going as slow as I am. But I'm going to save a little bit back, and we will learn why later. Alright, I'm going to measure out the last 2 ounces of the olive oil that I need. Okay. All right, so here's the story. I am working with a rose fragrance. Rose fragrances accelerate. They can be tricky. They can rise. So what I'm going to do, and I'm using Rose Bouquet from Midwest Fragrance, which I've heard through the reviews is absolutely spectacular. I know it smells good out of the bottle. And I am just going to add it to my olive oil to help just kind of thin it out and prepare it to be used in cold processed soap. So I have decided to use, what was it? I think, so the usage rate on this, oh wow, I feel like I'm standing in a rose garden. The usage rate on this is over 5%. Because it accelerates, I'm going to bring it back. Also, I find florals to be heavy and strong, and they don't need to be used at the same level as some other fragrances like a berry. So I am going to just add in 5 ounces. I think I could technically add in almost 10. Obviously don't have 10. But I'm going to add in either 5 or 6. I think maybe it was 6 actually. I shall peek at my notes. Alright, so we're going with the 6. So it's a little bit reduced, but that's okay. And so this olive oil is just going to help thin it out a bit. Oh, it does smell amazing though. I saw in the reviews that some person said that her husband accused her of buying fresh roses for herself, but she had just used the fragrance. So that's funny. Goggles. Where's my goggles? Alright, so I prepped my lye solution yesterday, but I didn't know what batch I was working on quite yet. So it is a 32% lye concentration with also the amount of coconut milk I use and sodium lactate subtracted from it. So it's pretty concentrated. Because I'm working with an accelerated fragrance, I'm going to take my lye concentration to 29%. So the lower the number, the more water. Now this is different than water as percent of oils. You may be used to working with that in some of the calculators, but lye concentration is what I use. And so I'm adding another 10 ounces of water to this. Now, I don't need to measure because it's already there. This is going to make it cloudy. And it's also going to warm it up a little bit, which is actually fine because it's pretty cool. So the main fumes and everything, that's dissipated. That's not really a concern. But you can probably see that it's clouding it up. And that's just what happens when you add water back into a cooled solution. In my experience, I'm going to be adding organic coconut milk to this recipe. And I figured out I use around 3% of my oil weight as milk. That's what I like. Between 2 and 3% really works great. So this is a little bit clunky still. There's some solids there. I'm just going to pop this into the microwave just to melt those down and kind of bring it up. Now in this particular, I don't need that much, it's trying to come out. In this particular situation, this is at room temperature, which is fairly cold in here. It's actually 59 degrees in here, so it's fairly cool. So I may have to look at warming some stuff up. My mini split is actually set at 78, but since it's a little bit higher up, it's 78 up there. And it's not 78 at my level. So it's a little cool. We're working a little cool in here today. And I just keep the extra in a jar and pop it in the fridge, and I will use it again probably tomorrow. Aren't these jars so cute? For colors, I'm going to be mixing Queen of Hearts, Rose Pink, and Lollipop. I really like what they bring, and I also am about out. So I'm so sad. I have been on such a soap making kick that I'm starting to run out of my colors. My oils, I'm looking at them over here, are actually only 61 degrees. So I'm going to pop those on a low heat. My lye solution is 73, so it has come up a little bit. It's fine. I'll probably hold that. Meanwhile, I do need to line my mold. And I made this soap yesterday. And this is what I do. I just spritz it with alcohol and I top it with a piece of cardboard. I let it do its thing. Normally I wouldn't unmold it this soon. I normally don't make soap. It's a little afternoon. I don't make soap this early in the day typically, but I gotta get out of here early today. So I'm going to do that. So look, you guys get a sneaky peek. This is cherry almond. And I only have the one mold right now. We went from testing this mold to it's been in full production. So I have forgotten to request a second actually. My son will probably make it for me very soon. Oh yeah, I thought that liner did not go in well yesterday, so it made a little mark, but we're not really going to look at it too much. In fact, the video may already be up on the channel by the time you see this one, but I am just going to add it to my stash back here. It's going to do its thing. Always leak just a smidgen, no matter how well I line a mold. Always get just a little bit down in there. And don't anybody let me forget that I'm heating up my oils, okay? Keep me responsible here. So soaping cool is actually going to help me out. I don't want those to warm up too much. Midwest Fragrance, their cold process soaping notes are that they tested it at 90. I'm going to be working more around 70. And even though I do want it to come back up to temperature, my liner was pre-cut. I want it cool so that I can work with it for a little bit. Looks like I designed this one a little bit better. Cut it up a little bit better than my last one. And so I just used freezer paper to line my mold. I've had a lot of people ask me for rose fragrances. I've done lemon rose water. What is happening here though? Lemon rose water and ivy. I'm not sure I've made soap in that one though. And it's a hard fragrance to work with, so this is not one I do often. But I'm doing it today. And if it's alarming and dramatic, we'll just be alarmed and dramatic together. So I'm going to prep my colors, and I have approximately, is it 12 pounds of oil? 12 pounds of oil, a little over, it's almost 13. And so I can use, at 1 to 2 teaspoons per pound of oil, I can use 24 teaspoons, which is what? Divided by 3, 8 tablespoons of color. I don't plan on doing that by any means. Let's just see how this goes. I'm going to put it right into my oils today. So I'm going to be careful. Not wearing a mask. I'm just going to be real careful this time. So I'm going in with rose pink, and I do need to save a little bit for another batch. So I would have probably used all rose pink, but no can do today. I think I'll do 6 teaspoons. We'll see. Let me see what this looks like with 1 lollipop. Because I don't want it to be an in-your-face color. But, as it turns out, I'm also out of titanium dioxide. Like I said, I have been moving and shaking around here, and I am needing to make an order. So, this is Queen of Hearts. Let's mix that up and see what we think first. So it obviously is going to tone down a lot. We're going to be adding in the lye solution, which that mixture is going to make it more opaque. Oh shoot, my air purifier is making a noise. So the main thing is that we just don't want it to be super bright in your face, or at least I don't. You might, I don't know. So we're just going to kind of sink those down in. I mean, I guess you could see. Let me see if I can reorg. And let's just see what this looks like. Can you see that purpley shimmer from the lollipop? Can't tell if I go forward or back. There's glare because of my fluorescent lights. I'm hoping that's not going to lean purple. I'm going to put in another teaspoon of Queen of Hearts. And let's just see. I think that'll be helpful. Anywho. So that's 6 teaspoons in this batch. Correct? I don't remember. I'll have to look at my camera now. I have found that mixing Queen of Hearts, Lollipop, and Rose Pink makes the most amazing pink, and I've been using it a lot in different percentages and ratios. Alright, I think we're ready to rumble. I have my slightly warmed up coconut milk. It's actually 97. My oils are at 74. My lye solution is 76. So I think we're in good shape. We're ready to go. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is add in the coconut milk, or second as it would be, since it's quite colorful down in there. Blend that in. I need to tap the air bubbles out of the shaft. So swirl, tap, either way we don't want to incorporate those bubbles into the batch. We definitely are going to want to strain this out. So, in with the solution. I don't think it's going to grab really too much. Kind of broke down and blended in. Now this is kind of creating some air bubbles by going through the strainer. Oh, there they are. Now, it doesn't really add up to a whole lot, but what we did lose in the sodium hydroxide water mixture is just adding a slight superfat, which is in the right direction, and that's fine. If my solution had been 30% light concentration, not taking out for the coconut, not taking out for the sodium lactate, it would have been just as clear as could be. I like to count for 30 and then stir it, see kind of what it looks like. There is still some oil floating on the surface, so it's not completely emulsified yet. Now some of that shimmer will be from the mica, because the mica is going to do that. Now we have to make sure this batch is ready to go, because we're going to be pouring very quickly. So this batch has got to be at least, I mean, it could technically be a little over emulsification, but I want it a little further along. Like, I want to know that it's ready to go in the mold. Normally, I would split off my colors, you know, and I'd be working with it and doing things, and it's coming along, you know, during all that time. All right, I'm in a light tray, so I'm okay. Now, they do say just to stir it in. I don't have a whisk. I only have spatulas out here, which is weird. I have a small whisk, but that's not going to help me with this. So I don't want to spend a lot of time fiddling around. So the mold needs to kind of be over here ready to go for you on this camera. And this is kind of why I don't do persnickety batches on camera. So isn't this pretty? This is a lovely color. It's going to lighten up even further when it solidifies. So I think what I want to do is use the stick blender just in case it rises or something. All right, things are about to get real, y'all. Deep breath. All right, let's go. We're doing it. I'm not gonna scrape that or anything. All right, everything's looking good. We're not going so fast. I know it's scraping a little bit. Pardon. So, what are you doing over here? Go down here. Now, remember, I've reduced, this is going very well. I reduced the fragrance I'm using because I just don't feel like it needs to be that strong. We can make adjustments next time. It smells great. I feel like, so we're at a light trace and I did get a little stick blending in, so I feel good about that. All right, well, I guess let's just prepare to mold as we would, because I think I better go ahead and pour it. I think for scraping and all the things, but it is pretty thin still. It is creating a lot of bubbles as it pours. You can see some mica shimmer in there, just kind of moving that around. Well, then. Sometimes batches will just accelerate at the warmer temperature, so I'm obviously soaping a lot cooler by about 20 degrees overall. I need to work with one that actually I know what accelerates on me tomorrow. Actually, I won't do it tomorrow because I'm also out of distilled water. Isn't that funny? Not really. I'm irritated. So we're still doing really good. I kind of have a plan of doing something on the top. I didn't really think that through a whole lot, so I need to figure out what I'm going to do real quick like. Okay, that's looking very good. Going all over looking for a spoon, and it was right where I wanted it to be in the first place. All right, well, I don't want a lot of texture on this at the moment, so I'm gonna drip. That's very pretty. What do I want to do? All right, I'm just gonna switch it around a little bit. I'm still doing more, so that's not gonna matter a whole lot. Now, I would love to make a little heart, but I don't feel like that's gonna work. And now my rose pink is looking a little different color than this, and I'm not sure I want to do rose pink. Let's see. Are you not dripping off today? That is pretty, but I don't feel like that's the color that I want. I'm just mixing up another color real quick. Just a tiny bit of mica with some olive oil. Yes, I think this more fits the color it is now. I'm just gonna make some drips. And we can change direction if need be. Yeah, I did not make enough of that if we're gonna do that. They're really spreading out. I am not going to worry myself with this situation. I'm just going to drip it and we're gonna smear it around. I think my other idea would do that another day. So I think it's time to just get working with this. We could play with one and see if it'll make a heart. That's super cute. Let's get all the others smooshed around first. Let's just play. Let's see if it makes a heart. I don't have a real good skewer right now, so let's say we're going right here. Just, I don't know if you can see it anyway. All right, I'm gonna go my way. I mean, it would have been cute. It's just the soap is thick enough, right? Can you see that very well? Oh. The soap is just thick enough right now that it doesn't really look like a heart, so I'm not gonna worry myself with that. Sometimes it's just best to leave things. So I'm sitting here thinking of all the other things I could potentially do. But I think for today, since this is all I was prepared for really, I'm just gonna go with that. Isn't that really beautiful and lovely? And what are those knockout roses, double knockouts? That color really reminds me of those. They're so pretty. So here we have the rose soap. And it went really well with the extra water and the adding, you know, the oil, mixing it in with the fragrance, soaping cooler, the reduced fragrance. It actually went super well. So that's really fun. So I am going to let this set for just a little while, and then I will spritz it with like 91% alcohol. I'm going to cover it with the cardboard. I'm going to set it back there and let it do its thing. It's going to gel. It's going to saponify and solidify, and then it'll cool back down, and then I'll be back to cut it soon. All right, so I am having a soap cutting day. I have a lot back here to get to. I am working on my videos first. So I've just cut Love Note, and now I'm going to cut Sweetheart Rose. And this soap is looking very good, and it smells quite strong. I have a little ash formed right there. It's not too bad. Will mostly be on the end pieces. Got a little bit of weirdness on the edge. I sometimes call that like an inside ash. I don't know. We'll see. We will see what it looks like inside. I'm hoping it's not what it looks like inside, but that does happen sometimes, especially with a thinner pour. But we'll just see. Yeah, bring in my handy splitter here. I'm just going to slice off the edge first. Just a real small amount. What happened here? Got a little weird. It smells just gorgeous. I have to take just off a sliver off of this one. Hopefully that wasn't too much. It does have that modeling inside. We'll see how far in that goes. It almost looks like when a fragrance rises just a little bit, and I don't think this one did. But the persnickety ones like this do tend to have kind of that mottled look in my experience. So you can see it has just a little bit of a texture there. These pink florals and I don't get along. I had made a pink soap last year and the fragrance really rised. Not last year, earlier this year. I'm already in next year mode because it is not next year yet. I was going to rebatch it. I bought a new crock pot, shredder, all the things. And I just didn't like how the scent was working out in the soap. So I didn't end up working with it. But these pink ones just give you a little bit, pink florals I guess are going to give me a little bit of a challenge. It looks like it got plenty hot. I can kind of see a little bit of a ring. I don't think it's going to be noticeable in the final product. But I could just kind of see it just a little bit. Like it got pretty hot towards the center. That is a thin slice for sure. It looks like it got pretty warm inside. You probably can't see it. But the texture increases just right in here where it probably was overheating just a little bit. Alright, so let's cut a loaf and we'll see what it looks like. It still smells beautiful and it's strong. It does not need that full 5% by any means. Oh yeah, so you can see it's right down there. There's a line there where it was trying to form a glycerin river from being just so hot. And even though I don't have titanium dioxide in it directly, it is in the mica in a smaller portion, but also I used a lot more water, and more water means that you're probably going to have more of a glycerin river situation. So yes, I can see little swirls. There's like one that comes, I guess if I show you better, one that kind of comes down in there. So overall the soap is fine. There's not going to be any issues with this soap. It just got so hot. And so yeah, overall it'll be fine. It's not an issue. It's a little bit cosmetic design, the way it looks, but I think it's going to be fine, as it is just beautiful. Yeah, that'll be all right. It kind of looks cool actually with that little bit of a texture instead of just being just a straight, but we'll just see how it goes. Not that big of a deal, but is a side effect of some situations. Let's cut, this one should be the middle. Let's see what it looks like. I'm still going to cut the last one for a sampler. This color though is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Looks the same. And the top is just really pretty. Yeah, just a lot of, just some texture is all. And then when I plane the bars, a lot of that will come off, but it is going to be have a textured look for this particular batch. Go ahead and clean off the wires. It just less gunk to dry and fall off of the bars later when I have to get them off the tray and everything and clean them up. And by cleaning them up, it means I'm going to bevel and plane the bars so that you have a much nicer look. It's too soft right now. Well, it's not soft, but it's fresh, and so it's just going to smear more than anything if I run it across my planer, so I'm just not going to do that quite yet. Alright, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Sometimes fragrances can be tricky to work with, and sometimes like this one actually went pretty well, but maybe because I reduced it, because I added more water, I created another issue that I had not thought of. And that's okay. As soap makers, it's just an ebb and flow. We're still learning as we go. There's a lot of factors to soap making and working with different fragrances and water and heat, and sometimes it's just plain unpredictable. My products are available at moriversoap.com. Make sure that you check the video description for links to my social media. I'd love for you to follow me there as well. Be sure to like the video, leave me a comment, and hype it. It does help the channel an awful lot. Thank you again, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.